Welcome to JWL Sports, where we review all the best sports tips from around the world. Now, you're probably wondering, why should I watch over here instead of anywhere else? And that's because over there, they don't care about what you have to say. They say this all the time. They talk down to us. They think we're just a bunch of clowns on YouTube, Twitter. But I think it's the opposite. I think we know exactly what we're talking about. So I read every single comment. So whether you agree with me or disagree with me, either way, let's get in some discussions. Let's get in some fights. But ultimately, let's just have some fun. So without further ado, let's get to it. We're watching a clip of Get Up with Marcus Spears and Greeny, of course, talking about, is this the last dance with Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys? This has been a topic that has been picking up some steam lately, you know? I mean, before it was that the Cowboys are going to go all in on everyone, and then they're like, well, they're going to let him just play on, his final year. And then it's, this whole narrative has kind of gotten its own, kind of gotten out, I don't want to say out of control, but it's gotten bigger than I would have thought, quite honestly. Because at this point, it did feel, or I should say before this point, it did feel like, how could the Cowboys move on from Dak? Whether it's right or wrong, it just felt like Dak was their guy. And now it's like, it feels like it's potentially like a legitimate thing, except I just don't know what what the Cowboys do, because they're not going to have a good draft spot next season, because Dak Prescott isn't a disaster. So this season isn't going to be terrible. I mean, sure, they might not win a Super Bowl, or maybe they might not even make the playoffs, but they're not going to be picking, first, second, or third or something. So, and the only way to really let Dak walk is if Trey Lance is actually like legit and like ready to go, which I'm not so sure that that's the reality either. So let's take a listen to see what they have to say, and we'll break it down further from there.
I kept saying, well, once they do something, as soon as the Cowboys do something, we'll call Swagoo and we'll get him on to react to it. Well, we never had to call you, Swagoo, because the Cowboys haven't done anything since last we spoke. What is your reaction? Is this the last dance with Dak? What do we say about the Cowboys?
We say nothing, because nothing has happened, G. And I've been sitting here twiddling my thumbs thinking about, you know what, it's been a lot of off seasons where we talked about moves that's been made for the Dallas Cowboys, whether that be keeping their own guys or bringing guys in. All they've been doing this year is sending people away and doing absolutely nothing. I'm not going to shade Eric Kendrick's move. They needed a linebacker. Great, they got a linebacker, but they got nobody else, okay? And the problem is that I can go off on a tangent and go off on a rant about this. But we heard all in. Everybody heard it. The whole world heard it, because the whole world listens to what the Dallas Cowboys are doing. And ain't nothing been all in about this offseason outside of me riding past the store and going work out at Cowboy Fit up there because I get a discount because I'm a former Cowboy. And I'm around the facility, and I'm going to tell you what's happening around the facility, G. Nothing. Nothing's happening up there. It ain't nothing but a bunch of people enjoying the store up there in Frisco. We eating at the restaurants. I'm going visit my store at J. Hilburn to get my suits made so I can get ready for next season. I'm working out at Cowboy Fit. They got a 50-yard line field. All the kids are playing. It's a wonderful facility. The Ford Center has been hosting high school athletes. They've been having camps. My son is training up there at the Sports Academy right next door to the store. And everybody around the facility of the Dallas Cowboys are doing something. But guess who ain't doing nothing? The Dallas Cowboys. I ain't seen no scouts. I ain't seen no GMs. I ain't seen no coaches. I haven't seen anything happen. I ain't seen a Brinks truck back up there for no free agent to sign. I ain't even seen Derrick Henry up there, because Derrick Henry now is Baltimore. So nothing's going on. Guys, it's an off season. I don't know what we're going to do. There are no stories coming out outside of what they're going to do with Dak, and they probably going to extend Dak. I don't want to get into this, blow it all up. Quarterbacks ain't growing on trees. He's still a real good one.
So, right, Tim, how about your perspective on all that?
That's my rant.
It's a good rant. Go, Tim.
Yeah. I don't. Well, my perspective is I don't get a discount, because that's the one NFC team I was never on that roster. So I would just say this: look, I think that when I look at this situation at Dallas, look, Dak won this a while ago. When Dak was making $800,000 a year, and the Cowboys, were hesitant to pay him. I think they were trying to use the fact that he hadn't made much money, against him to sign an under-market deal. He played chicken with Jerry Jones and he won. And because of that, he can continue to play well, get to the end of contracts. And so now they're in a bad spot because of the leverage that Dak has. And rightfully so from Dak's perspective. And so because of that, there's just certain things they can't do. Can't get involved in the Derrick Henry game or the A.J. Dillon game. Can't do that. Can't improve in some areas that Marcus is talking about in terms of in free agency. And so with that, look, this is the situation they're in. In some ways, guys, it reminds me a little bit like the Saints. When the Saints continued to pay Drew Brees and kind of extend things out as he got older. Now, the good thing for New Orleans was Brees continued to play at a really high level. In order for them to have any type of success as they extend this with Dak Prescott, because I think ultimately that's what they do, he needs to continue to play at a really high level or even play at a better level for them to have any success.
Oh, my God. Okay. This idea that Dak Prescott is magically going to play at a better level at this point in his career is so absurd and ridiculous. I don't know, where is there ever evidence of that magically happening? This is who Dak Prescott is. Why does collectively we have this just absurdity when evaluating Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys, that we think they're just magically going to be better or good enough? And I want to know why every year, at least especially the last few years, that everyone says the Cowboys are for real. The Cowboys are for real. They're legit. They're a Super Bowl contender. Look what they've done. 12-plus games, 12-plus wins, 3 seasons in a row. Let's go. And then they lose spectacularly in the playoffs. And then it's like, well, they weren't good enough, or they didn't have enough weapons, or they need to get better, or this or that. And it's like, which is it? Did they have a great team and were Super Bowl contenders and couldn't cut it? Or are they not good enough? Which is it? And to hang your hat on Dak Prescott now just magically getting better, if you're a Cowboys fan, you just have to be beside yourself at this point. Because are you really expecting Dak Prescott just to be better suddenly? Like, I don't understand what you all are waiting for. I could see the argument if you had a new coach. If you hired McCarthy and you went out, and it wouldn't have been my favorite hire, but a Bill Belichick, or like I keep saying, Jerry Jones has all the money in the world, should have made an offer that Harbaugh could not refuse. Come here, Harbaugh. And then I would be like, okay, dude, now the Cowboys have something going. Or, pry, the OC from the Detroit Lions away and just take a gamble on a hot up-and-coming OC who looks like he may be the real deal, and see, what he can do. Again, Jerry Jones would have probably had to maybe overpay, but I don't know. He's never really gotten that big payday, so who knows? So, but running it back with McCarthy and Dak, and then you're not even making aggressive moves in the offseason, and so now you're just going to build in the draft. I just don't know in what world are the Cowboys truly competitive to win a Super Bowl. And that's what it's about, especially at this point in Dak Prescott's career. Now, should this be Dak's last season with the Cowboys? Not necessarily, but it should be the last season that you pay him all this money. Because if he wants top dollar, then, again, outside of you having a Harbaugh or some elite offensive mind that says, don't worry, I'll be able to make this work, then I don't know what you're doing. Because a coach of like Mike McCarthy's level is not going to be able to win a Super Bowl when you're paying Dak Prescott more money than Patrick Mahomes. And then therefore you can't keep and get good pieces around Dak. It's not going to work. That's just not how it's going to work. Patrick Mahomes doesn't even take Patrick Mahomes money. Okay? He restructures his deal to take less so they can get people like Hollywood Brown and things of that nature. So it's just dumb. And not to mention he has Andy Reid. So it just doesn't make sense to me. It really, really doesn't. And I keep seeing new clips like this, throughout the weeks of the offseason, and it just feels like we're having this like collective amnesia. I just don't understand what are we expecting? And I understand that letting Dak Prescott walk would be tough, especially because, like, well, QBs don't grow on trees, and he is a good quarterback, which Dak Prescott is a good quarterback. But you're not winning. Do you want to just become somewhat competitive, or do you want to win a Super Bowl? Because if you just want to be somewhat competitive and you're okay going out in the first and second round for the next 5+ years, then by all means keep Dak. And maybe that's good enough. Maybe that's good enough to keep the money rolling and keep the fame going and the popularity going and, all of that. And if that is, then sure, go ahead. But you're not winning a Super Bowl. That much is pretty much a guarantee. So I'm just unsure of what the long-term play is. You could make the argument that it is better to have Trey Lance, which I don't think he's probably going to be a good quarterback. But you could make the argument that it's better to have Trey Lance, pay him nothing, and stack the team. But like I argued before, you need to have a great coach to be able to do that. We always say, you can win a Super Bowl with a great team and, an average quarterback. But what's missing from that is that the teams that have done that have always had like elite coaches. We always point to the 49ers and Shanahan, but Shanahan is the Shanahan. Shanahan's the real deal. So again, Mike McCarthy's not able to do that. And Nick Sirianni's not able to do that. So if you're not going to have an elite quarterback, you better have an elite offensive head coach. And if you're not going to have an elite coach, then you could make the argument that it's better to have an elite quarterback and a more average team. But I just don't know of many circumstances that you're able to really win outside of having also a great defense that is able to really, close that gap within games. So, again, and I'm curious too, they're saying that Dak has all this leverage. And granted, I think other teams would want Dak. But what is that saying then about Dak? If Dak chooses to take a huge, let's say they realize Bryce Young is just not it. He is just an absolute and utter bust. And Carolina's like, Dak, we will pay you $260 million or, whatever. Okay, great, Dak. He's going to go out there and lose with the Panthers. He's not doing anything with the Panthers in that circumstance. He's doing nothing. So I just again, it's just why would you even want that then? What makes a quarterback so amazing, so elite, so great, so special, like a Patrick Mahomes, like a Tom Brady is that they truly put winning first. Yes, they get their money, obviously, but they do put winning first. Patrick Mahomes could get more money. That's indisputable. And it's not even up for debate. Obviously, we all know Tom Brady took less year after year after year. Okay? That led directly to championships, to Super Bowls, to winning. And I understand, get your money. I'm not saying everyone should be taking a pay cut. But if you want to win, and the Dallas Cowboys hold themselves to the standard of being an elite organization, a winning organization, not just a pretty good competitive organization. They pride themselves in winning, where they haven't won anything in 30 years. Something has to give. So again, if you just kind of want to be somewhat competitive and, I guess kind of relevant, sure. Pay Dak a gajillion dollars, $60 million a year. Go ahead, go do it. And you're just going to get the same result again and again and again. But those are just my thoughts. I would absolutely love to hear yours. Please let me know what you're thinking in the comments below. Should this be the last dance with Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys? And please don't forget to subscribe. We are building an amazing community here, and I would absolutely love to see you part of it. I want to build something that we all genuinely feel connected to, something that we're really excited to be part of, and I think we're well on our way to doing it. And please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, as it really does help with the visibility and the algorithm. Thank you so much, and see you next time.